People are loving The Mandalorian. They're saying this is the return of Star Wars of old.
Star Wars is back, baby.
You better believe it.
It was gone for a mere moment, and now it's back. Remember that fraction of a second in between waking up and getting your morning coffee where there wasn't some Star Wars coming at you? Well, it was gone. Now it's back.
Now it's back.
Baby.
We're, of course, talking about The Mandalorian, which is, at the moment of this video going out, has 2 episodes, but already there's a bunch of Easter eggs and theories. We could go for days on this. I'll definitely do a video that sums up all the Easter eggs from this series, but I thought maybe week to week or every couple of episodes, we'll kind of touch base, hit some major Easter eggs, hit on some theories, see where this universe is going.
Just catch up.
Just catch
have
up.
fun. Couple of bros being bros talking about The Mandalorian.
You know it. That's
Cup
all I
of
want.
coffee. We've got 1 cup of coffee. We're sharing it. That's how good of bros we are.
And look, there's going to be some banging theories and Easter eggs in this, so if people could leave a like, well then you're going to get what you came for.
Why don't you call it Star Wars Like Day?
Good idea.
Like Life Day.
Anyway, here's a good one to start with. So I guess the question to start with is, who is this guy? Like, there's a few things we know.
He's a Mandalorian.
He's a Mandalorian. Well, yes.
But he's not biologically a Mandalorian.
Potentially not. His name's Dyn or Din. It's D-Y-N, Jaren.
Uh-huh.
He's what's called a foundling in the Mandalorian society, which means he is an orphan of sorts. Mm-hmm. And it also seems that from the hints that we've got in the trailers and in the show that he was involved in a conflict as a child with the separatist droids, which has obviously led to him having a major distrust of droids in general.
He's droid racist.
He's droid racist. He doesn't want them piloting his ships. He'll fight side by side with one if he has to.
If maybe it's life or
to his
death.
benefit.
Uh-huh.
And he'll help one up at the end and be like, you're okay. But also he'll shoot one in the head if it's going to shoot a little baby Yoda or whatever.
That's right. Or just if he feels like it, probably.
Yeah. So are you of the thinking that this guy is not a Mandalorian and him going about trying to collect his armor and prove himself is a part of him building a bigger status in this society?
My personal theory is that he is of the same race as Vin Diesel's character in Chronicles of Riddick, whatever race that was.
Furian?
Furians, yeah. I think he's a regular foundling. Do you think we'll ever see his face?
I think 100%. I think if not at the end of this season, then
At the end of another season.
Yeah, I think it'll be this season. Yeah.
Do you think maybe they'll somehow tie him into Boba Fett?
Well, I've got some Boba Fett theories which I want to come back to if you don't mind.
Okay, how about if they're going to attempt to forge a connection between him and Boba Fett, maybe he's like a rogue clone?
There is theories that Boba Fett is still alive in the universe.
Yep.
In the books, like they've been rumors that his armor was recovered and it was scarred from acid and things like that.
Yeah, right.
But when the Mandalorian goes into his underground Mandalorian society, if you brighten up one particular shot of this, there's a guy in the background who looks pretty close to Boba Fett. I mean, there's a bunch of Mandalorians in there.
And they all do wear the traditional Mandalorian
But like
armor.
the colors are pretty close, the patches and all those kinds of things. But I think it's one of those situations where also I wonder whether the stuff that he's got is that Mandalorian stuff in general, because he's got all the Boba Fett and Jango Fett stuff.
He's got the flamethrower. He's got the grappling
hook. He's got
hook.
the grappling hook.
He doesn't have a jetpack.
No, he doesn't.
Jinx, you can't talk for the rest of this video.
I'll just take a sip of this coffee then. Oh no, I spoke. But he also has Boba Fett's gun from the holiday special.
That's true.
So I think there's a very good chance, maybe not in this season, that we're going to get a return of Boba Fett. I think they're going to hint at it at the very least.
Yeah.
And I also know that Disney were kind of reluctant to make this about Boba Fett because you are limited when you draw from characters like that.
Yeah.
Because people got expectations. That's why they made him IG-11 instead of IG-88.
Right,
Because people have an expectation about that walking broom. So
That's right.
Well, he's actually part of the Star Wars cantina.
Yeah,
He's
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, reuse your props when you can. You know
got
what I
to,
mean?
yeah.
Anyway, I'm very excited to see potentially a team up or a bitter rivalry between the Mandalorian and Boba Fett, like when old Rogue Trooper met new Rogue Trooper. That's a little Easter egg for our European viewers who cannot see the Mandalorian yet.
Fantastic. Also, who doesn't want 2 Mandalorian goofs just tripping over each other in the mud?
Oh my God, goofing about. What if they get a job and they have to carry a big pane of glass across the street?
Because there is also there's definitely shades of Boba Fett, but obviously there's a lot of Indiana Jones nods and Easter eggs where, he's being dragged by the sandcrawler. It's very, when Indiana Jones is going to hit the wall when he's in the tank. It's
right.
It's very much like that. How about this stuff though, Mason? We mentioned Boba Fett in terms of like the gun that he has. Is a similar gun to what Boba Fett had in the holiday special. This also brings to the forefront the idea of Life Day.
Oh, yes.
Life Day is mentioned. It is Star Wars Christmas, made famous by the Star Wars holiday special, which is atrocious. We've got a video on if you do want to check that out. And Jon Favreau's also spoke about how he'd like to kind of update and make a new version of the holiday special.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I think there's quite a few kind of nods in this towards that particular era of terrible Star Wars stuff, which now I guess has come around. People are like, oh, it's fun now, it's fun. But if you've ever sat down and watched it,
It is not fun.
brutal. We've also got an audio commentary if you want to watch us go mad watching this insane thing.
It's not fun. It is mystifying. If
Yeah.
anything.
And just, I guess, getting back to that gun again and Boba Fett, you see this guy just disintegrate a lot of Jawas and also Trandoshan lizard people as well.
Hell yeah.
Hells yeah. Which I think also is a nod to Boba Fett because Darth Vader's like, don't be disintegrating people, yeah? This is not what we do here.
In retrospect, with the many years of wisdom that I've gained since the first time I saw
Sure.
the original trilogy, maybe when Darth Vader said no disintegrations, he meant don't accidentally disintegrate yourself, Boba Fett. Don't accidentally disintegrate one of your feet off like last time.
Like last time, yeah. I love that disintegration gun. It reminds me a bit of, the laser from the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah, sure,
Just
like a
turns
heat
bit
ray.
of
Yeah.
ash or whatever. It's got a bit of that going on. It also kind of confuses me that he just didn't walk up to those Jawas selling all these parts and kill them all as opposed to killing the space rhino and the egg so they could eat a weird hairy egg. But anyway, he's got his own code, doesn't he?
He does. He just likes to spread joy and give people hairy eggs. He can't resist, Just as the Jawas can't resist consuming one, he can't. I mean, it's an Easter egg, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
He just enjoys the joy of giving,
I mean, they're weird, gross rat scavengers. I think
really
you
are.
can shoot as many of them as you want.
Yeah.
I feel.
I mean, he'll shoot an endangered furry rhino, won't he? There's only one of them as far as we're concerned.
But this brings us, of course, to, I think, like the biggest theory and element of the first season at this point, and that is the inclusion of Baby Yoda. He's not Yoda, obviously.
Do you think they would go that far?
Well, no, I think the idea is that this species has never properly really been explored or named.
That's right.
In the new canon especially. They've touched on it a little bit in the old canon. There's at least 2 others of these in the universe. There is Yoda and Yaddle. Mm-hmm. Yoda being 900 years old, but if he's 50 and he's still a baby, we talked about this in our show, The Weekly Planet, that means he's still pretty much a teenager.
That's true.
And he's in charge and being like, why aren't you good at the Force, Luke? I'm good at the Force. You were born with the Force. You've always been having the Force. What are you talking about? This guy lived in the desert. He sucks. His dad sucks. You just had it. Anyway.
You've got some strong thoughts.
I do.
About the Force and Yoda.
He shouldn't be in charge. If it's just something he gets.
You were Yoda's number one stan until like 2 weeks ago.
I agree.
Now you're mad at him.
Yeah, well, he's just in charge because it's something he was just good, and then he's teaching people. He's like, well, you're not trying hard enough. You don't believe in yourself hard enough.
Well, at least it's better than him being a hero just because his dad was important. You know what I mean?
Fair point.
At least he's got some skills.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. But anyway, so here's some theories relating to that character.
Okay, I'm ready.
That he's a clone of Yoda.
Okay, a cloder.
A cloder. Or he's the son of Yoda and Yaddle.
Okay, cool.
Yaddle, of course, looks like Yoda with a wig. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say clone is because the Imperial scientist who wants little Yoda back alive, he's got a Camino cloning insignia on his arm.
Interesting.
Yeah, which either hints towards him being a clone or he wants to clone this maybe force of Jedi Yoda creatures for the Empire.
Now, I guess my question is, where do you get the raw material to clone a Yoda?
Well, here's the thing. I think
has he been injured on screen at any point?
But I think it's more likely that he wants him to clone him.
Yes.
Because as we know from the sequel trilogy, there's mention that they still have clones in the universe.
That's right, yeah.
Because even though the First Order troopers are like stolen children for the most part, there's like a threat that we should get rid of these and
bring back the clones.
Mm-hmm. So I think what he wants to do is do the similar thing with the clone troopers.
And then he has an easily controllable, one would assume, clone army of Yodas.
And you can also speed up yeah, that's right. You can also speed up the growth of them. Mm-hmm. The other thing is we don't really know in this universe whether or not you can clone a Force-sensitive being.
And it works.
And it works. In the previous
but
canon,
I mean, if not...
You can. There's a couple examples.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Even if you can't, maybe you develop just some sort of enormous, slimy Yoda creature that just charges across the battlefield. Yeah. That works.
But I think also the reason that he wants him alive and the Imperial officer is like, whatever, because he's probably like, well, look, dead... Werner Herzog is like, well, if he's dead, then no one else gets him.
That's true.
And also maybe we'll get the remains and we could clone him from the remains, maybe. But it seems to me that you need a live clone template like they did in the prequel trilogy to make an army. So the scientist is like, no, I want this guy alive so I can do my experiments and such.
For sure. And I mean, even if he's not going to clone him, just fun to do experiments on a baby Yoda, you know what I mean?
100%.
Poke and prod.
Yeah. There's also another theory that the birth of Yoda, Baby Yoda, is in relation to the birth of Anakin. They say that he's 50 years old, which is roughly the age that Anakin would be if he was still alive.
Okay, so we're suggesting in this theory that Anakin Skywalker, who was going to bang on for ruining everything.
Just in time to ruin the galaxy.
Just in time to ruin the galaxy. Perhaps that has brought forth like the birth of this
Yes.
Yoda to bring the balance
Exactly.
to that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
How does that interest you?
That's very interesting.
But what I like about the idea of that is he's 50 and he's still an infant.
Yes.
So it's like you missed it. Like
Right.
it all happened.
Well, the Force operates in mysterious ways, all right?
Yeah. So that was their opportunity, like the good side of the Force, to be like, well, this is our answer to
What
Anakin.
happened is there was a little behind the scenes back and forth. The dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force were like, "Hey, we got to develop some champions here for good and evil." And the dark side's like, "I'm gonna create a human." The dark side guy's like, "Yeah, ours is gonna take 50 years." You'll also take 50 years, right? Light side of the Force. And the light side of the Force is like, cool, man. All right.
Yep.
All right, deal's a deal.
Yeah.
And then the dark side of the Force is like, sucked in,
Sucked in.
idiot.
Yeah. And our guy sucks a lot.
That's right. He's the worst. He's unpleasant. I'm glad to get rid of him, to be honest.
I think the most likely thing to me is the clone thing. They're going
yeah.
to clone him.
Yes.
I think he's probably born naturally and he's just been banging about the galaxy for X number of years, going from person to person. Do you think we're going to actually visit the Yoda homeworld and all that kind of stuff and the species will get named? Because George Lucas was pretty particular about not touching on that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, this seems, thus far, this seems very loyal to that.
Yes.
So I think...
Well, and it is Dave Filoni who's like George Lucas's protege as well. So
there we go.
yeah.
Well, and I think probably we're not going to see that. I think this is maybe going to be a mystery that remains unexplored. I mean, we could see a planet of Yodas,
Yeah.
but I mean, also it could very well be implied that a Yoda is sort of spontaneously created by the Force. Maybe that's why they're
Totally.
so powerful in the Force.
Yeah.
So, and you know, why spoil that magic?
But if anyone has any theories relating to the baby Yoda, to where's Boba Fett, to what's the deal with the Mandalorian himself? Like, is he going to take his mask off? We'd love to hear him. If you want us to come back weekly and kind of do these for each episode, maybe
Going
we
to put
will.
another mask on.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, we also have videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So if you want to come back for any of those, please subscribe to do so. And the other thing is we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. Just recently we did an episode on The Mandalorian, how it's shaping up, the start of the season, is it doing well?
Mm-hmm.
And of course Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
The
new
video game.
That's right. So I'll link that below if you're on the morning commute. You want to hear some news of the week and whatever?
Bit of a spoiler alert. We liked them both.
Yeah, that's right. But don't let that stop you from listening.
Or sending us hate mail in whatever manner
Yeah,
you
whatever
choose.
you want to do, yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.